If you have anxiety or depression and you like Aragorn at the same time, then this video is for you. The important thing about this video is that this video can teach you about how Aragorn can show you how to not have anxiety or depression in your life. First things first, we need to take a look at what Aragorn lives for. As a psychologist, I call this the hierarchy of values. Every person will have a different hierarchy of values, and this hierarchy can be imagined as a pyramid, with the top being preoccupied with the thing that this particular person values the most in their life. Most people value the most the so-called four false gods, being power, wealth, pleasure, and fame. Yes, many moderns would also put family in there, which is probably the only noble thing that we can find amongst most people hierarchies of value. However, if you live for money, comfort, wealth, or fame, you are essentially living for what I call the myth of happiness. The myth of happiness is a modern day's fallacy where men live to be quote-unquote happy. If you live to be happy, you're so far away from Aragorn's hierarchy of values that the two of you are not even the same species anymore. The hierarchy of values of Aragorn is preoccupied with virtues. There are four cardinal virtues, and those are courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. Aragorn places the most value in his life on those. These virtues to him are more valuable than anything else. So what happens if you truly start living for a virtue with your anxiety? Well, most people suffering from anxiety are like any other men or women of today. They live mostly for quote-unquote happiness and comfort. Happiness in and of itself for a modern man could be defined as a lack of adverse symptoms. Not feeling anxiety, not feeling depression, not feeling bad, not feeling empty, just feeling comfortable. There were many books written about this happiness trap, however, it goes way more deep than you think. If you don't live for virtues, meaning if you don't live to become the best and strongest version of yourself possible, a version of yourself that's virtuous, that has a strong character, and if you don't view this above everything else, especially the quote-unquote happiness or comfort, you, my friend, will be very anxious and possibly even very depressed in your life. How so? Well, it's quite simple. All virtues start with wisdom. According to traditional ancient Stoics, like Seneca, Epictetus, or Marcus Aurelius, true wisdom lies in being able to discern good from evil. So what was good to the ancient Stoics? The only true good for them was moral good, and the only true evil for them was moral evil. Now here we're approaching a very foreign territory for a modern man. What is this moral evil or moral good? What does this video even mean? Well, put quite simply, Stoics were descending from Socrates, and Socrates had a very strict view on the issue of good and evil. Socrates usually roamed around Athens, and he asked strangers about whether, for example, money or pleasure is good, since those are the things that most people place on the top of their pyramid of values. Yes, of course money is good. Really? Socrates would ask. So let's say that you acquire a lot of wealth now, and as a result, you start cheating on your wife, and your 16-year-old son finds out, and he takes it very badly, and he commits suicide. Therefore, Socrates would ask, is wealth really good? Well, if I think about it now, given the example you just gave me, probably not good. Let's say that you live in an impoverished village and they have no food, and you acquire wealth, and you can suddenly bring money to the village and everyone can buy food. Is wealth truly evil then? Well, no. Given the example that you just gave, Socrates, wealth actually cannot be truly evil. Therefore, Socrates would add, wealth is neither good nor evil. Just as fame or pleasure, wealth is neither good nor bad. These are what Socrates would call indifference, meaning these are things that are neither good or evil at all. So what does make them good or evil? Things like wealth, fame, or anything else that is so-called external, as Stoics call them. What does make these things external to you, good or bad? Well, only your own moral good or evil. Only your own inner stance. Because if it's good, your use of wealth will be good. But if it's evil or bad, your use of wealth will be bad or evil. Stoics took a lot from Socrates, and therefore they said that a man should not live for these indifferent things, because they are neither evil nor truly good. Therefore, if a man wants to be truly happy and fulfilled in life, he has to focus fully on just aiming for the good. As all these things that Socrates just talked about were taken as so-called externals by Stoics, they tried to live for what was internal, and according to them, the only good could be found internally. So what was the only good to the Stoics? It was the virtues: courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. It was the moral character, becoming the strongest possible version of yourself that they took for the only good and for the only happiness that we truly have in life. And this will be very weird for a modern day person, because they will usually say something like, well, how does this relate to my anxiety at all? Well, it does a lot, because if you live for the quote unquote myth of happiness, if you live for comfort, if you live for virtually anything else than for virtues and having a good character, and therefore you take every problem as a problem, oh, now it's blocking my happiness, now it's blocking my comfort, my pleasure, my striving for wealth, fame, or anything else, then you will have what the psychologist Albert Ellis called anxiety of anxiety, or depression of anxiety. You will have a so-called secondary emotional disturbance, meaning you will not only have anxiety, but you will have anxiety about anxiety, because you will be like, oh, this anxiety shouldn't be here because it's ruining all these nice things that I want in life. Maybe you'll even be depressed about your anxiety, meaning most of mental health issues today are the direct result of people having their hierarchies of values preoccupied with stuff that's not truly good, that won't make them truly happy, and that's making them extremely weak when it comes to their mindset and facing challenges and problems in their life and mental health issues. If you want to have a superb mental health, you have to reorganize your hierarchy of values. You got to start reading ancient texts, and you got to start living for anything else than money, wealth, pleasure, and fame. Namely, you got to start living, according to Socrates and Stoics, for virtue: temperance, courage, justice, and wisdom. If you don't live for these, no matter what you do in life, I don't care, if those are not placed high, you will always lose whatever you value the most. Bad stuff will happen, people will die, you will lose your comfort because you will get anxiety. 50% of people could get a mental health diagnosis in their lives in terms of global population, so you will likely find yourself there in some time as well, and you will be extremely weak to face any challenges in the world, because you will be living for things that are not truly good nor evil. All these things can take you down, and all these things, if you live for them, are actually evil, because you are becoming a slave to them, and if you don't get them, they're your ticket to the really nice hotel that's called anxiety and depression goes. Most of anxiety and depression is, as Albert Ellis said, because reality doesn't happen the way you demand it should happen. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you need a Gandalf on your own path, let me know on obsessivepsychologist.com. There's an email that you can send a message to, and I'm gonna help you beat your own Sauron, and maybe even your own Saruman, for the matter. Also, you can click on the subscribe button if you want to see more videos about Aragorn, mental health in general. Stay tuned because I'm going to be making a lot more content than I ever done before. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, have a great day. Peace.